Word on the streets is that Matt Reeves' The Batman 2 is set to introduce us to a 13-year-old Dick Grayson. This would be Robin's first appearance in a live-action Batman movie since the disastrous 1997 Batman and Robin. And no, I'm not counting Joseph Gordon-Levitt's turn as Robin in The Dark Knight Rises. Now, someone was bound to take another stab at bringing Robin to the big screen, but the real question is this movie the right situation to do that in? Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Matt Reeves' 2022 Batman reimagining was met with almost universal praise upon its release. Many people, including myself, praised it for its grounded, violent, and realistic tone. Matt Reeves created a world where a tragic character like Batman would very obviously thrive. And his and Robert Pattinson's version of Batman was a reflection of that world they created.
That makes sense.
But the real question is, would a 13-year-old vigilante sidekick work or even be appropriate for the sequel given what was set up in the original? Now, to be clear, I have a lot of confidence in Matt Reeves as a filmmaker. I very much enjoy it when creative minds are allowed to put a fresh spin on these iconic characters and stories, as long as they stay true to who they are at their core, and I think The Batman did just that.
I like it a lot.
My only real issue with the original film was the bloated and frankly uncharacteristic third act. Up until that point, it felt like Matt Reeves was trying to make an unconventional comic book movie compared to what we typically get in the genre in the modern era. But then when writing the third act, it felt like they realized they needed a more traditional superhero finale, so they added this whole Batman versus the Riddler followers sequence that I felt was very out of place.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
And this got me thinking how one questionable creative decision can turn a great film into just a good film. And I believe that the possible inclusion of a character like Robin could have the same impact. Now, as always, these things are always about execution first and foremost. Is there a way that Matt Reeves can make a 13-year-old sidekick work in this ultra-realistic world he created? Maybe.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
For a while now, I've been of the opinion, after seeing so many different characters and stories adapted from comic to film over the years, that to me some things just don't translate well from page to screen. And I think the Fantastic Four is a great example of that. There's been at least 3 attempts to bring them to the big screen, all with different tones and directions, some drastically so. Yet no one has been able to get it right, and I'm simply suggesting that maybe the Fantastic Four wasn't meant to be adapted.
Stop it!
I have a similar feeling towards Robin, or more specifically, a teenage or child version of the character. Being a massive Batman fan, I obviously have a lot of respect for Robin, and I would love to see him adapted at some point in a way that makes sense. But it's a tough pill to swallow when you think about Bruce Wayne bringing along a child in his crime-fighting adventures, especially in a city that's as dark and as unforgiving as the one Matt Reeves created. And if you suspend disbelief long enough to let that aspect go, even visually, Robin is a very difficult character to pull off in live action. Now, they've updated Robin's look over the years to make his inclusion in the comics a bit more digestible. And if I had to guess, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Matt Reeves isn't going to have Robin running around in a trapeze outfit.
You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
But there are a lot of questions surrounding a character like Dick Grayson being introduced into a universe such as this. Throughout my time being a fan and being a creative person, I've often thought about how I would adapt Robin to live action if given the opportunity. And to me, it would be very simple, actually. I would introduce Dick Grayson as a child orphan initially, but I wouldn't have him actually assume the mantle of Robin until much later. I'm thinking in his late teens. This would give us sufficient time story-wise for Bruce to train Robin properly, and thus making his jump to becoming a full-fledged crime fighter that much more believable. In my version, his arc would cover an approximate 10-year span or so, possibly over 2 or 3 movies before he actually becomes the Robin that we know. This would also give us enough time to build the whole Dick and Bruce relationship. And as far as his look goes, I would probably have him look something similar to how he looks in the Arkham series. A style of costume that I think lends itself to a more dark and gritty tone while also feeling familiar.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Now, Matt Reeves could be planning something similar to what I just described, and if so, I would be the first one to praise him for doing so. I just hope he doesn't revert back to those old tropes like he did in the third act of The Batman. Just to give everyone those traditional superhero movie feels, and to give everyone instant gratification, just so we can get Robin on screen. So does The Batman's realistic stories, villains, and violence make a teenage Robin a bad fit overall? Not necessarily, but it's going to take some reinvention on Matt Reeves' part to make it all work. He's going to have to find a way to make the audience suspend disbelief long enough to go along with the idea of a young Robin, if in fact that is his plan. Now, to be clear, these are just rumors at this point and nothing has been confirmed. There were also rumors floating around over the weekend that Clayface will be in some way involved or the main villain of the sequel as well. Another character similar to the Riddler and Robin, who would need a healthy dose of reinvention to translate into the Reeves Batman universe. Now, if this were a more fantastical universe, all of these concerns I'm putting forward right now would be null and void. As always, we'll have to wait and see how all of this plays out. And at this point, I'm willing to give a guy like Matt Reeves the benefit of the doubt, because I do believe, again, that he is a capable filmmaker.
You've earned it.
But you are walking a fine line when discussing adapting certain aspects of the Batman mythos. There's a reason why many talented filmmakers prior to Matt Reeves have avoided Robin altogether. And a lot of that could be the bad taste left from the Schumacher Batman films.
Holy rusted metal, Batman!
A lot of people also feel like Batman works better in live action when he is running solo. But when it comes right down to it, a character like Robin is not easy to adapt. And if these rumors are true, it appears that Matt Reeves might be up to the challenge. And if he could pull it off, it would be one of the biggest and most impressive achievements ever for Batman stories told on film.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Matt Reeves and company has up their sleeves, because as it stands right now, the Batman 2 and Joker 2 from Todd Phillips are the only DC projects in development that I actually have interest in. No matter what happens, I will always support filmmaker-driven films and decisions over studio-driven films any day of the week. So I'll be pulling for Matt Reeves to make all of this work, and to bring his vision to life like only he can.
Y'all be cool. Right on.